Jeria stood in front of the human cell. The glass wall was clear, but strong. She looked at the male inside. He was sitting calmly, hands resting on his knees, eyes closed. His name was Corinne, and he was the only human prisoner on the ship. Jeria was not afraid. She was a warrior, trained to fight, cold, focused. She had fought in many battles. But this was the first time she saw a human up close. He looks weak, she whispered to herself. Her friend, Commander Wheeler, had warned her, do not go near the human for too long, he said. They carry strange smells. Their scent can affect your mind. Jeria had laughed at that. A smell? You think I will fall because of a smell? Now she stood alone in the hallway. She took a deep breath, then entered the cell room. The door closed behind her with a soft hiss. Corin opened his eyes. They were sharp, alert, but calm. You're not one of the guards, he said. I'm here to observe you, Jeria said. Nothing more. Corin smiled. Then observe. She didn't like his smile. It was confident. Too calm for a prisoner. As she walked closer to the glass wall, she felt something strange in the air. A light, sweet scent touched her nose. Her eyes blinked fast. Her heart began to beat faster. A warm wave passed through her chest and spread to her stomach. She took a step back. What is that smell? She said, almost to herself. Corin tilted his head. You smell it too, don't you? Jeria frowned. What are you doing to me? Nothing, he said softly. It's just me, my body. My scent, you're reacting to it. That's impossible, she said. We are not the same species. Corin didn't reply. He just kept watching her, calm. Still, Jeria turned and left the room quickly. Her breathing was heavy. Her skin felt hot. She walked fast to the med bay and scanned herself. The machine beeped, showing her body temperature was higher than normal. Her blood pressure was up. Strange hormones were moving inside her. Hormones that were not supposed to be active. No. This can't be happening, she whispered. In her species, heat, the mating cycle, had not existed for hundreds of years. Their scientists had removed it long ago. It was old biology, forgotten, dead. But now, it was waking up. She didn't tell anyone. She saved the scan secretly. She locked the file under a hidden code. That night, she could not sleep. Her dreams were strange. She saw the human's eyes. His voice echoed in her head. She felt her body burning, like something inside her was calling out to him. The next day, she returned to his cell. She told herself it was part of her job. But her hands were shaking. You came back, Corin said. I have questions, she said quickly. He smiled again. Of course you do. She asked him about his body, his biology, his scent. He answered calmly. Double quotes, yes. Humans produce pheromones, he said. All animals do. But ours are strong, very strong to some species. Why? Me? She asked. Why am I affected? Maybe, Corin said slowly. Your kind was not as free of instinct as you thought. Jeria's fists clenched. You think we are weak? No, he said. I think you're changing. She stared at him. Her breath was fast again. The air around him felt thicker, warmer. Her body wanted to stay. Her mind wanted to run. She turned and left. Again, she went to the med bay. The scan now showed changes in her DNA. Small ones, but real. Her senses were sharper. Her skin more sensitive. Her blood was reacting to something. And the source was clear. Human pheromones. She stared at the screen in silence. This was not just biology. This was transformation. Someone had lied. The old mating instincts were not gone. Just sleeping. And now they were waking up because of him. Because of Corin. Jeria sat alone in her quarters that night. She held her head in her hands. What is happening to me? She felt fear, confusion, heat, but deep inside, She also felt something else. Curiosity. Jeria woke up gasping. The sheets under her were soaked with sweat. Her breathing was wild, fast, like she had run through battlefields all night. But she hadn't moved at all. Her dreams had done the running. She sat up slowly. Her skin was glowing faintly. That had never happened before. She touched her chest. Her heart was beating too fast. Her hands trembled as she reached for the small med scanner beside her bed. The machine blinked red. Again, her body temperature was too high. Her hormone levels were not just rising, they were flooding her system. Something inside her had changed. During the night, she looked at the mirror across the room. Her eyes were shining brighter. Her skin looked smoother, more human-like around the cheeks. Not fully, but slightly. Just enough to feel strange. She whispered, "This is not me." She stood up and walked to the window of her private room. Outside, the stars moved slowly. The ship was traveling through deep space, silent and cold. But inside her, everything felt like fire. Jeria hadn't told anyone yet. Not the med team, not her commander, not even her closest squad mate. If they found out, they would isolate her. They might even think she was infected or worse, compromised by the human. But she wasn't sick. She knew it now. She was going into heat. Real heat. A primal call for bonding, for mating. Something her kind had erased generations ago. Something that should not exist anymore. She got dressed slowly, each piece of armor feeling too tight on her sensitive skin. Even the air brushing across her arms felt too sharp, too alive. Her orders were to stay away from the human for at least 2 days. She lasted 6 hours. When she entered the hallway that led to his cell, her body shivered. Not from fear, but from need. She hated that word. It didn't belong to a soldier. But it belonged to her now. She walked in without speaking. Corin was sitting again, calm as always, but his eyes lit up when he saw her. "You came back early," he said. She ignored his words and stood near the glass. This time, she didn't look at his face. She watched the floor. Her voice was low and cold. "Your scent, it's still in my body." "I know," he said simply. Jeria looked up sharply. "What do you mean, you know?" He stood slowly and walked closer to the glass. He didn't touch it, just close enough so that she could feel his presence. "I told you, our bodies speak to each other, through scent, through energy. We were designed by evolution to connect. It's not a trick, Jeria. It's nature." "No," she snapped. "My kind removed that part of nature. We don't bond. We don't go into heat." He smiled, but not to mock her. It was a soft smile. "Maybe you were never fully free of it. Maybe your people only hid it, buried it deep." Her hands clenched at her sides. She wanted to scream, to deny it, but the fire in her blood told the truth. The heat was real, and it was growing stronger each second she stood there. She tried to leave, but her feet didn't move. Corin whispered, "You feel it more every time, don't you?" "Shut up," she said, but her voice cracked. The air between them was thick. Her skin tingled. The scent was stronger now. Her knees felt weak. She turned quickly and walked out of the room before she lost control. Again, she ran to the med-bay. The results this time were worse. Not only were her hormones rising, but her reproductive system, long considered dormant, was active again. Her DNA was shifting. Her blood cells were changing shape, adapting. She wasn't just reacting to the pheromones. She was transforming. Panic hit her. She almost dropped the scanner. This wasn't temporary. This was evolution. Fast and direct. She thought about Corin's face. The calm way he looked at her. The way he seemed to understand what was happening. Before she even did. How much did he know? And why wasn't he scared? Jeria locked the scan results behind a private code, deeper than before. If anyone else found them, she would be thrown in isolation or worse. As she left the med bay, her com beeped. A message from command. A warning. Keep distance from the prisoner. We believe his presence may cause mental interference in alien species. Further contact will be punished. She deleted the message without answering. Her mind said obey. But her body had already made a choice. And deep inside, something ancient was waking up. The voice was not real. Jeria knew that. Still, it spoke, softly, inside her head. Come back. She woke up in the dark, breathless, her sheets twisted around her legs. No alarms, no movement, just the soft hum of the ship under her feet. And yet, she felt like she had just heard someone whisper into her soul. It was his voice. Corin's. Jeria sat up, heart pounding. She hadn't spoken to the human in 2 days. She had forced herself to stay away, followed the order from command. She had locked herself in her room, eaten less, even tried to meditate to slow the strange urges boiling in her blood. But none of it helped. Each hour, her thoughts became louder. His image returned again and again in her mind. Sometimes she felt his breath on her neck. Sometimes she could smell him even when he was not near. And now, the voice. Was it real? Was she losing control? Or was something deeper happening between them? She didn't report it. Of course not. They would never believe her. Or worse, they would study her. She took a shower, trying to calm herself. The water felt too hot, even though she set it to cold. Her skin was extra sensitive now. Her ears twitched at the smallest sound. Her body felt different again, hips slightly wider, muscles softer in some places, stronger in others. The changes were slow, but clear. Jeria put on her uniform, eyes distant. Today, she told herself, she would just check the glass wall. Just one look. No words. Her boots echoed in the empty hallway as she walked toward the prisoner section. Her fingers twitched near the security panel. Then she saw it. A thin crack running through the corner of the glass wall. She froze. The human was sitting inside. Legs crossed, hands folded, calm, peaceful. But his eyes were already watching her, like he knew she'd come. How did this happen? She asked, eyes locked on the crack. I touched it, he said. Only once, she frowned. That's reinforced glass. Even I couldn't break it. He smiled, slow and quiet. I guess I'm full of surprises. Jeria stepped closer. She didn't want to. Her legs moved on their own. You're dangerous, she said, voice low. Corin didn't deny it. So are you. Their eyes locked. She wanted to look away, but couldn't. What do you want from me? She asked. He didn't answer right away. Instead, he stood and walked to the glass. His hands stayed at his sides. He didn't press against it this time. I don't want anything, he said. But something between us is already happening. You feel it. I feel it. Jeria's throat was dry. She took a small breath, and that scent, sweet, sharp, almost electric, filled her lungs again. Her knees went weak. I'm not like you, she whispered. Not yet, he replied. That made her step back, chest tight. Not yet? Was he saying she was becoming more like him? Was that even possible? She left the cell room fast, without another word. Her fingers shook as she sealed the door behind her. She didn't stop until she reached the small storage room near her quarters. There, alone, in the quiet, she collapsed onto the floor, heart thudding. She had to know more. She couldn't fight this in the dark. So, against every rule, she connected her console to the ship's ancient biology archives. Files no one used anymore. Data about things long erased: pheromones, heat cycles, cross-species instincts. Forbidden science. One file stood out. Subject 9X. Human pheromone effects on alien receptors. She opened it. The file was incomplete, redacted, but the parts she could read chilled her. Test subjects had shown signs of transformation, emotional bonding, DNA shifts. A few had entered full heat, even when their kind had no record of such behavior for thousands of years. The tests had been shut down, hidden, but one sentence burned itself into her memory. Pheromones do not only attract, they awaken. Jeria leaned back, mind spinning. Was she just another test subject? A forgotten experiment restarted by accident? Or had someone planned this? She didn't know. But one thing was clear now. She was no longer just a soldier watching the prisoner. She was part of something much bigger, and maybe more dangerous. Silence. That's what Jeria noticed first. No footsteps in the hall. No hum from the wall lights. Even her own heartbeat felt distant. She stood outside the cell room, eyes locked on the crack in the glass. Only now the crack was larger. She hadn't touched it. No one had. But the thin line had spread like a spider web overnight, creeping along the surface with silent intent. The way a wound grows on skin, something was going to break. Jeria didn't call it in. She just stared. Then, slowly, the lights above flickered once, twice before going dark. Only the emergency red glow remained, pulsing faintly across the hall. She reached for her cum. Dead. The whole system was offline. Jeria backed away from the door, one hand on her pulse weapon, and then the glass wall made a sound. A soft, wet pop like a bubble bursting underwater. Her weapon rose instantly, eyes focused, and from the dark room, Corin stepped out. No guards. No noise, no struggle. Just him. His white prison shirt was torn at the side. His left hand had blood on it. But he looked calm, more than calm. His eyes glowed faintly in the red light, like they were built for the dark. Jeria aimed at his chest. Don't move. Corin stopped. His head tilted, just a little. You don't want to shoot me, he said softly. You escaped your cell, she snapped. That gives me permission. But I didn't break out, he replied. The door opened for me. She blinked. What? Corin raised both hands slowly. The system shut down. All locks went soft. Power drain. Maybe a coincidence. Maybe not. Jeria's grip tightened on the weapon. I don't believe in coincidences anymore. He stepped closer. Not fast, not threatening. Just slow, smooth, like he belonged in the hallway. She didn't fire. Her weapon was steady, but her hand was shaking. Then he said something that made her blood freeze. I didn't come to hurt you, Jeria. I came to protect you. That word again. Protect. From what? Before she could ask, a loud bang echoed down the hall. A door slammed open at the far end. Jeria turned sharply. Two armed officers stormed in, weapons ready. There he is, one shouted. Take him down. No, wait. Jeria stepped forward. Don't shoot. But it was too late. One officer fired. Corin moved. Fast. Too fast. He dodged left, his body bending in ways Jeria had never seen before. He spun, grabbed the shooter's arm, twisted, and slammed him against the wall. The second guard tried to fire, but Jeria stepped between them, gun raised at both. Stop, she yelled. Breathing hard, she looked between the two men and Corin. Stand down. All of you. The second officer hesitated, then lowered his weapon. The first one lay unconscious on the floor. Corin stepped back, hands up again. I didn't want to hurt them, but they were going to kill me. Jeria looked into his eyes. Something in them had changed. They were sharper now, wiser, older. She realized he wasn't just escaping. He was changing too. Why are you doing this? She asked. Corin's voice was quiet. Because someone on this ship is lying to you, and I'm the only one who knows why you're changing. Her breath caught, you know? He nodded once. And if we don't leave this place soon, they'll erase both of us. Behind them, the lights flickered again. Then alarms began to scream. Level 3 containment breach. Initiate lockdown. Jeria looked at Corin. Then at the unconscious guard. Then At her own trembling hands, this was no longer a mission. This was a choice. She lowered her weapon and whispered, "Follow me." Corin didn't ask questions. He moved behind her, fast and silent. Together, they ran down the red halls, past the cold lights, into the shadows where secrets slept. Jeria's heart was no longer burning with heat. Now, it burned with fear, and something else. Rebellion. Asterisk. Rain, real rain. Jeria had never felt it before. She stood under the leaking pipe, eyes closed, face tilted up. Drops fell gently on her skin, cold and sharp. The sound echoed across the empty metal chamber like distant footsteps. They had been hiding for almost a full cycle now. Somewhere deep inside the ship's forgotten maintenance level, no cameras, no patrols, no records. Just silence. And water. Corin sat nearby, working on a hacked console. His hands moved quickly. Calm, focused, like this wasn't strange at all. But to Jeria, everything had changed. Her body no longer felt like hers. She moved differently, breathed differently. Her skin healed faster. Her heartbeat was stronger. Her thoughts were louder, and worst of all, she no longer felt alone in her own mind. Sometimes she thought his voice was there, not words, not commands. Just presence. She opened her eyes and looked at him. "You said you know what's happening to me." Corin didn't stop working, but he nodded. "I do. Tell me." He paused. The old screen in front of him flickered, then flashed green. Access granted. He turned toward her, wiping his hands on his torn shirt. "There was a program," he said. "A quiet one, years ago. Your people wanted to understand human pheromones, why they affected so many species." She frowned. "They told us it was just chemical noise, nothing important." Corin nodded slowly. "That's what they wanted you to believe. But in truth, they found something. Something hidden deep in alien biology. A door, locked long ago by evolution." Jeria's eyes narrowed. "A door?" He met her gaze. "A biological switch. Something that responds only to humans. Or human scent. When exposed, that switch turns on old instincts. Old genetics. Things your kind thought were extinct." She stepped back, the truth hitting her like a wave. They knew, all this time. They knew this could happen. "Yes," Corin said. "But only to a few, very few. You were never supposed to meet me. You were chosen. Placed near me to see if the change would begin." Her breath caught. "So this was a test?" "At first," he said. "But when it started working, when you began to change, they tried to stop it. Cut power, lock me down, erase the proof." Jeria looked down at her hands. Her fingertips glowed slightly under the dim light. Her veins had changed color. Her bones felt lighter, faster. "I'm not just reacting," she whispered. "I'm becoming something else." Corin nodded. "Something new." The screen behind him buzzed. Data filled the space scans, experiments, logs. One report had her name on it. Subject Z03, early stage hybrid response. Her hands shook. "They lied to everyone, even me." "That's why we have to go," Corin said. "Leave the ship. Reach the outer colonies. Tell them what's happening." She didn't answer. Her eyes were stuck on the word hybrid. Half alien, half something else. Was she still Jeria? Or just a weapon someone was building without her consent? Corin stepped closer. "You still have your mind. Your will, that hasn't changed." She looked at him, searching his face. "You don't feel fear," she said. "I do," he replied softly, "but not of you." Outside, in the upper decks, alarms began to flash again. Someone had found the trail. They had minutes, maybe less. Jeria stared at the console, then at the narrow tunnel behind them, the escape route. Then she did something strange. She reached out and took Corin's hand, warm, strong, real, not a test subject. Not a prisoner, just a person. "Let's finish what they started," she said. But on our terms. Corin smiled, and together, they ran into the dark tunnel, two fugitives with the truth in their hands, and the fire of something ancient in their blood. The air smelled like metal and salt. Jeria didn't know why. There was no ocean here, no wind, no sky. Only this old, abandoned moon base filled with rust, dust, and silence. And yet, something inside her was calling it home. She walked barefoot down the cold hallway, her armor left behind. It felt too heavy now. Her skin was too warm. Her breath came short. Every step felt like she was carrying someone else's body. Corin followed her in silence, always a few steps behind. He had seen the changes. Her eyes now had rings of gold inside the black. Her bones had shifted slightly. Her walk different, graceful, fast, inhuman. But it wasn't just her body that was changing. It was her mind. She heard things now. Felt emotions that weren't hers. Sometimes she would think of something, and Corin would speak it out loud before she even moved. Their connection was no longer science. It was real. And terrifying. She stopped at a broken window overlooking the crater outside. The stars above were distant. Quiet. Corin stood beside her. "You haven't said a word in 2 hours," he said. Jeria didn't answer. She was trying not to scream. Inside her chest, her heart was pounding like a war drum. Her blood felt thick, heavy. Her stomach twisted with heat. The second cycle of heat had started, and this time, it was worse. "I can't hold it much longer," she whispered. "It's stronger now. It wants control." Corin looked at her. Not with fear, but with something else. Sadness. "You're near the edge," he said. "The final phase." She turned sharply. "What does that mean?" "If you don't bond fully, you'll burn it all up. Your body can't hold that much energy without a release. Your DNA is overloaded." "I'm not mating with anyone," she snapped, anger flashing through her voice. Corin didn't move. "I never said you had to. I said you need balance. Bonding doesn't always mean mating." She stared at him. "Then what does it mean?" He didn't answer. Instead, he reached into his jacket and pulled out a small data cube. "Before I was captured," he said, "I found this. It's from one of your own science teams, hidden deep in a human colony." Jeria took the cube, her hands shaking. She placed it into the console on the wall. The screen flickered. Then, a hologram appeared. A female alien her kind stood in the middle of the room, older, wearing a lab coat. Her face was tired. "If you're seeing this," the woman said, "then you survived phase 1. That means the change has begun." Jeria stepped closer, breath caught in her throat. The woman continued, "You were never meant to remain fully alien. Our leaders feared human contact, but also desired it. So they created you, a sleeper, a seed, to grow if the conditions were right." Jeria whispered, "A seed?" "You are a bridge," the woman said. "Not a weapon. Not a mistake. A future we could not control, but one we needed." The hologram faded. Jeria backed away, the heat now burning under her skin. Her fingers glowed faintly. Her chest rose and fell fast. She dropped to her knees. "Jeria!" Corin rushed forward. "Breathe." But she couldn't. Her hands clawed at the floor. Her skin cracked with golden light. Her heartbeat slammed against her ribs like it was trying to escape. "It's happening too fast," she gasped. Corin knelt beside her. "You're not dying. You're becoming." She looked at him with wild eyes. "It hurts." He placed his forehead gently against hers. "I know." Her body trembled. Her mind shattered. But somewhere in the chaos, she felt something soft, his calm, steady presence. His warmth. His breath. And then, silence. Not outside, but inside her. The fire cooled. The pressure stopped. She didn't pass out. She didn't fall. She just became still. When she opened her eyes, her body felt new, alive, balanced. But her thoughts were different now. She could hear more than just Corin. She could hear voices, others like her, far away. Awakening. Asterisk. Asterisk. She stood in the dark, barefoot on stone. Though there was no stone on the ship. Above her, stars swirled. Below her, a glowing river flowed through black space. She wasn't asleep, and this wasn't real. But it wasn't a dream either. Jeria was. Somewhere between what was and what could be. A voice called out, not Corin's. Not hers, but ancient and familiar. You are awake. She turned. Shapes moved in the sky, not bodies. Not people. Patterns, light, thought, memory. They spoke without mouths. You are the first. But not the only. She stepped forward. Her body glowed gold and silver, smooth as crystal, strong as metal. Her heart beat like a soft drum in her ears. Her senses were calm. Her fear was gone. What am I now? She asked. The answer came like wind. The next. Jeria opened her eyes. She was lying in the ship again, in the old moon base, the light dim above her. Corin sat beside her, asleep, head resting against the wall. She stood slowly. No pain. No fire. Her body had finished. Changing. She was not alien. Not human. Something new. She walked to the console. Outside the base, ships were moving patrols. Her people had found the location. Time was short. Corin woke. You okay? He asked softly. She nodded. Better than ever. They're coming. I know. She tapped the console. The comm system came online. This is Jeria, she said, her voice strong. I know you're listening. On the other side, static. Crackled, then a voice, familiar, cold. Jeria? What have you done? I've become what you tried to bury, she said. And I'm not alone. I can feel them, others like me. You didn't erase us. You made us. You will be hunted. The voice replied. You are unstable. She smiled. No, I'm awake. Corin looked at her. What now? He asked. We stop hiding, she said. We speak. We show the truth. We find the others, and we rise. Alarms blared in the distance. Ships descended. But Jeria didn't run. She stepped outside the moon base, into the light of a rising sun. Behind her, Corin followed, quiet, steady. In her chest, a pulse of energy spread out like sound, and far across the stars. Others heard it. They opened their eyes. They stepped out of shadows, and they followed her voice. Not just soldiers, not test subjects, not half-anything. Hybrids, whole, free, new. And for the first time in history, they chose their own future.